Have you found your dream job as a developer? Or are you stuck in an unfulfilling job? On WeAreDevelopers.com, you find over 1,000 jobs in Europe that fit the tech stack that you want to work with, and salaries go up to $130K. All you have to do is create a free profile, and you automatically get matched with jobs that fit your requirements. So what are you waiting for? Create your free profile and let companies apply to you now.
Zeiss. I think you should go to Zeiss.
Zeiss Digital Partners.
Be amazed of knowledge, industries, manufacturing, optics, hardware, software,
AR, VR,
Machine Learning,
infrastructure.
Ich will nicht aufstehen und irgendwie mir denken, scheiße, ich muss meinen Job machen, sondern was kann ich heute machen?
You will make it happen. Do it.
Hello everybody, welcome everybody that's coming into the room. Hello. Come and sit down, we're going to start. Now, who here is really into design? A couple of us, good. I think it's as a developer, it's good to know a bit about your design. It's good to be able to work together with designers. Sometimes design feels as like this squishy thing. Designer probably has some kind of like magic gut instinct, and they can do everything perfectly. They know about colors and stuff like that. I don't know. Sometimes for me as a developer, design feels a little bit untangible. And something that I can't always wrap my head around. Today, though, right now, we're going to look at some of the science behind some design and psychology, and you'll kind of, we'll make it more, more something that's fungible for you. So I think you're very much going to enjoy this one. We're going to explore some of the power of brand psychology, and we're going to look at things that Apple and Tesla have done. Our next speaker is the founder and brand strategist of the 3 Colors Rule. And as I said, we're going to look at neuromarketing and neurodesign. Please give it up for the one and fabulous and amazing Flavilla Fungang!
Thank you. Hi, everybody. What a nice intro. I could have not done it better than he did. Thank you so much for having me, Berling. How are you? Hey, energy in the room. I like it. Listen, my talks are very interactive. So are you going to play with me? Are you going to play with me? Yes, you have to play, because otherwise we're going to be stuck in here. So today we're going to be talking about neuromarketing and neurodesign. You probably wonder what it is about, and should I care about that? The first question I want to ask you, raise your hand if you think that you're in control. The fact that not all of you raising your hands say something about it. So we're going to play a little game, because if you haven't exercised yet, we're going to do a little exercise. So we're going to use the right part of your body, all right, with your right hand, and I'm all watching it because I really want you to play. Draw the number 6 in the air as fast as you can. Yes, well done. And with your right leg, I want you to turn it clockwise at the same time, as fast as you can. What's going on? Can you do it? This is my favorite part. I'm like, I can't do it. It's absolutely fine. I promise I'm not a witch. It's just body and how we are. So neuromarketing and neurodesign is not about manipulation. It's not about mind control. It's really about understanding how the brain works. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. Are you excited? Hey, yes, I love good energy in the room. So we're going to learn about how the mind works and how you can persuade your audience, so whoever you're trying to convince to choose you, but also how to influence purchasing behavior. All right? So why is this so important? I think we need to start with why. Why is because a lot of money is being wasted on bad design, on bad development, on bad campaign. And trust me, I work with web developers, I work with web designers, I work with graphic designers. And within my team, I want my designers to understand how to do marketing. Within my web developer and web designers, I want them to understand the marketing as well. The reason why you might say, I'm not in a marketing role or I'm not in a designer role, but the better you understand this, no matter where you are in your position, the better you're going to be able to influence decisions. So say, what's the point of doing this project if it's not going to work already? And billions, as we're talking right now, billions of people are trying to create an app or trying to run a campaign that actually doesn't work. So before we get started, I really want to take you through a journey to understand how our relationship with brands has evolved. With brands, the brand that we consume, we buy from, whatever it is in B2C or whatever it is in B2B. So I'm going to take an example, which is Nike. Everybody know Nike. So you think about back in the days, Nike, the way they used to communicate with the brand was very much about the how. So the product, the price, how much does it cost, how to use. Not just Nike, but any of the brands, was about really how do you use a product and really a bit of an education. Then the next era where we moved on, people wanted choices. People don't want you to drive the same car. People didn't want to wear the same trainers. And I don't know for you, I'm a bit of a shoeaholic. I have about 250 pair of shoes, which is not for everybody. But everybody wants to have different choices and therefore not look like everybody else. Something happened that forced companies to really act differently. Nowadays, the journalists reveal that Nike was getting their trainers made by kids, in poor countries, and that was not right. People didn't want to buy from brands who had no morals, and they had to do something about it. Anybody heard of Simon Sinek? Yeah, a few hands. The magic of the why. We move into the era where brands were much more focused on the why. And why we're doing what we're doing, it was no longer about the trainers. When you buy Nike or you buy Reebok or any of the brands, so Adidas, you don't buy for the trainers, you buy for their why, their purpose, and that's what they really push on. That's a big message. Even nowadays, it's still very relevant. The purpose is very key in terms of how you attract a customer. Can somebody guess in which area we are? If anybody can guess, and if you have a loud voice, which area do you think we are? And I'm going to give you a clue. It sits within your pocket. Can anybody guess? Digital. You have a good voice. We're in the era of social media, of course, where everything is very much about emotion, digital, and as you say yourself, very key. If you look at the relationship with our brands right now, they no longer control the narrative. The social influencers, whatever it is, Twitter, if you spend time on Twitter as much as I do, you realize everybody can say anything about a brand. And if everybody knows about cancel culture, you can cancel a brand or someone right like that in 1 minute and they lose all their deals. And this is very powerful. That means that everybody nowadays can be a journalist. You don't have to wait for Financial Times or any other very big newspaper to get you information, and we all have the power. The reason why I'm telling you that is that think about your customers and whoever you work with as a community. It's no longer a one-way relationship, it's a two-way relationship. The more you get them involved in what you do, the more they become an advocate of your brand and the more you reduce your cost of marketing. Does it make sense? Yes? Give me a yeah. Give me a clap. Yeah, probably easier. All right, next game. How many brains do you think we have? Raise your hand if you think we have one brain. Raise your hand if you, okay. Raise your hand if you think we have 2 brains. Raise your hand if you think we have 3 brains. Okay, I thought that you guys were clever. We only have 1 brain. So I'm going to take you, it was a tricky question. So I'm going to take you through a journey to understand how the brain works. All right. The brain is divided in 3 parts. We have 1 brain, but it's divided in 3 parts. We have the reptilian brain, the limbic system, and the neural cortex. So let's start with the biggest part. The biggest part is called the new brain, the rational brain. This brain that you're using right now to really understand, learn new skills, or understand, does God exist? Hold on, I'm going forward too quickly. What controls our imagination? If you're trying to create a new product, this is the brain that requires the most effort. I really want you to pay attention to the size of each of them, yes? The second brain is the limbic system. This limbic system is our emotional brain, which controls how we feel. Try to think about the last time you went through a breakup, yes? How did you feel? Was it a bit painful? Did you end up under the duvet and eating burritos? Or did you just move on with your life and live your best life? So really controls your judgment. You probably decided if you like me or not, and there's nothing I can do about it unless I get another opportunity to work with you, to be with you. And the last brain, I like to call it the lazy brain, which is the primitive brain, and its job is to keep us alive. If you really pay attention to the size of each of this part of his brain. So it's really the part of the brain that controls the body, the body vitals functions. So really if you feel like you need to breathe, obviously drink water, hungry, whatsoever. And obviously if you're in front of a bear, do you stay or do you run? I really advise you to run, yes? Do not stay. If you see a bear, just run. Don't try to be, the next Avenger. Doesn't make sense to try to convince that. So the next question, you remember, we have three brain is divided in 3. So we have the reptilian brain, the neurocortex, and the limbic system. So I'm going to ask you a question. Which part of the brain do you believe has the most control? Is it the reptilian brain? Raise your hand if you think it's the reptilian brain. Okay. Raise your hand if you think it's the limbic system. Raise your hand if you think it's the neurocortex. Okay, there's about a good average number everywhere. Okay, so we're going to do a little game. So I'm going to ask you to read out the color, not the word, yes, the color. Are you ready to play? Give me a clap. Yeah. All right, so read out the color, not the word, and fast as you can. I want to hear you. So, pink, blue, yay, fantastic, A+, everybody. You're going to get a certificate at the end of this session. Do you want to do it again? I'm going to do it faster. Are you ready? All right, let's do this. What am I hearing? Okay. I changed my score. It's not A plus anymore. It's minus B. Yeah, B minus. It's really hard. Let me tell you what happened. What I just did, I just created a brain conflict. Brain conflict, as I mentioned earlier, most of the time, we have to make a lot of decisions. Throughout the day, you have to make about 1,000 decisions. So the brain is the biggest and most vital organ of your body that consumes the most energy. So when you need to make a decision, it goes back into what it knows. So for example, if you meet somebody, if I ask you to marry me, you're probably going to say no to me because you don't know me, unless you want to marry me. I hope you don't. So imagine as the brain as a bit of a data center. So we collect information. Remember the part of the brain is to keep us alive, so to avoid us making mistakes. Yes? So, which brain, again, I'm going to give the same question. Which brain do you think has the most control? Reptilian brain, raise your hand. Neocortex, raise your hand. I can see. And limbic system? I still have limbic system. The answer is reptilian brain has the biggest impact, followed by the limbic system in terms of how we make decisions. We are not rational individuals whatsoever. We never have to imagine tomorrow you go to a restaurant, and in front of the entrance you see a security guard wearing a pink outfit. You're probably not going to be so intimidated by him. And then you go back the next day and he's wearing a black outfit. Just talking about color and how your perception change. One color makes me much more approachable, and one color makes me much more, scary, if we could say that, right? Does it make sense so far? Give me a clap. Yay! All right, we're going to keep playing. Within 7 seconds, that's all it takes for you to make a decision just based on color. Remember, I just talked about the example around the bodyguard a security guard just wearing pink or black. So again, Sylvie, I wanted to show you an example of a rebrand exercise. This is not in tech. I just want to show you an exercise of a rebrand exercise where Tropicana decided to change their beautiful packaging and change it to the one on the right. How much do you think this rebrand cost them? It was a failure. How many billion? I'm going to give you billions, million. How much do you think that cost them in terms of a failure? 5 million? 35 million? Yes, it cost them 35 million because of this failure. What you can see between the one on the right and one on the left, one looks a bit more artificial, so people could not recognize the brand, first of all, because they changed the brand identity, but also people were very accustomed to having the full orange on the packaging. So based on that, therefore, that they were not doing the same quality of product. 35 million just because of a bad design. How expensive is that? And they had to go back to what they were good at. So colors, as I mentioned, colors has a massive impact in terms of how we make our decisions. So when you design, whatever you do and how you choose your call to action, or whether you're a marketer, whether you're a designer, a web developer, understand your colors and how you can say right away, this product's not going to work. We're not using the right color, all right? So if you think about all the brands around the world, they sit around the hues. This is the color spectrum. And a question that you may be asking, how do I choose my colors? Color is very simple. Every color has a meaning, so you need to recognize whether you choose red for passion, whatever you choose yellow for innovation, recognize where your colors sit. But also, when you think about your color of your brand, think about the values of what you want to articulate. If you want to articulate it much more of a traditional approach, then you want to choose more of the blue. If you want to articulate much more of the innovative approach, you might choose the yellow or the orange. But the colors, choosing the colors based just on values are not enough. It's about how you do your combination. And I want you to go into that. So I'm going to show you just 3 ways of how you do neurodesign in terms of your colors. And you're going to, which is really important because I see quite often on websites or apps or whatsoever, where the color combination are not done effectively. This first one I wanted to share with you is a monochrome. The monochrome, basically, you choose the same color within hues and tones. So you stay within the same color. So I'm going to show you how it looks when you choose your colors right. So again, a simple way to choose your colors. If you want to, try to think about color as a way to really calm your mind. If you see a reaction towards this reaction when you look at the design, that means that you're not doing something right. All right. The second way to think about how you do color combination is a way around complementary combination. So if you look at the color spectrum, the colors never change. Think about the opposite color you want to go. So here in this case, the blue and the orange, or you can go the purple or the yellow, and so forth. But beyond that, and I'm going to show you a second example how we've done it here with Speed Up, choose your brighter color for your call to action, for example. And you can see your eyes was straight away driven to taken to the speed up, which is the text, and then underneath you have a call to action straight away, which is super effective. So really think in terms of how do you use your color. The call to action should be driven by the brighter colors, and then you choose maybe the most subtle colors for your background colors. So really the magic, this is why my company is called 3 colors rule. Most of the time, the best combinations are a combination of 3 colors, all right? So if I think about my brand, so my brand is made of red, black, and white. White is for trust, black is for professionalism, and red is for passion. So that's what we want to communicate as a brand. And as you can see, I'm also wearing my brand colors on stage. So everything is very much aligned. Analogous combinations. I'm almost reaching the end. So analogous combination, again, something you can go into the 4 colors within attached one to the other. Again, it doesn't have to be 4, it can be 3 or less. But if you stick within this, you're creating a nice rainbow around your colors. Don't go further. And if you look at around this example, what Stripe has done, worked really, really well. Again, it calmed the mind. It works really, really well in terms of the combination. Again, same example here. I'm going to talk about fonts, because I think people really forget how important fonts are in, again, something in the design and so much more. How many brands can you recognize just by looking at one font? How powerful is this? How many logos can you recognize just by one letter from each of these fonts? And if you tell me this is not powerful, it is super powerful, yes? So looking at these two fonts, which one say trustworthy? The one on the right or the one on the left? Nobody, exactly. Another one, which one say happy? The one on the right? Exactly, and that's just font. So really think about what I'm telling you right now is that, again, your brain is making decision because of what it knows already, and this is your reptilian brain acting up. This is not your emotion yet. Again, you can see I used to work in the fashion industry. Again, when I moved in the fashion industry from the fashion industry to the tech industry, completely different environment. I had to re-understand, reimagine everything that I understood about fonts and so forth. So really, for example, in the fashion industry, Helvetica works really more. Maybe in the tech industry, then Montserrat is a better font, as an example. Safety. Remember, the brain is trying to avoid you from dying, so you want to play it safe as much as you can. So again, so think about how much can you emphasize. Again, I'm talking a lot about website here, but that applies as well to app and whatsoever. Think in terms of how can you create trust from the start. From this design, you can see straight away it names the number of businesses you work with, but also brands. It's so much powerful. When I created new brands, I always thought about, they don't know my brand, but they know other brands I can associate myself with. So feeling clear about the power of brand association, it is such an important strategy, especially when you're a new business. Who are the brands you can associate yourself with that will make your brand trustworthy? The next part I want to talk about, which is cognitive load recognition, which is reduction, which is super powerful. You've probably been to a website where you look at, what the hell are they selling me? I want to show you. Look at this. This is an actual website. You don't know where to look. There's so much going on. And I want to tell you, less is more. Sometimes trying to give too much information in one go makes it, again, too hard for the brain to process. Remember, the brain is trying to keep you alive throughout the day, so I have to look at information that is presented in a simple and very easy manner. Make it easy to decide. I want you to talk about that. Think about set out right now. Your friend's going on a date, and it has presented with 3 bottles of wine. One is €5, one is €10, and the other one is €15. Raise your hand if you recommend the €5 bottle. Raise your hand if you guys are cheap. Why do you do that? Raise your hand if you recommend the €10 bottle. Good. Raise your hand if you choose the €15 bottle. A few. Most people would choose the second bottle, right? This is called anchor pricing, which is very powerful. The reason I'm telling you that is because when you give people 3 choices, it makes it easier to remember. So remember, 3 is a magic number, except in a relationship, yeah? Everything else is fine, but always think about 3, or you can have a 4 for a bespoke option, but always easy to make it to give people 3. If you give 1, then they're going to have to look somewhere else to make a decision. If you give them 2, it's not enough. If you give them 3, they're going to think it's enough for me to decide within what you're offering. The power of the gaze, super powerful. Did you look at the baby? And then when you look at the baby, did you look at the product? Give me a clap if you did that. People did that. I want to show you here again something how powerful it is. Pay attention when you're humanizing your brand, okay, and using pictures of people, we are drawn to eyes and the power of the gaze. That's what we're looking at. So when you use images like this one, you can see where the baby, everybody loves baby and cat, I don't know for you, but I love those. So pay attention in terms of how you use visual. But again, look at the example of how just from the heat map, the difference between this one and this one. So pay attention to what you want people to pay attention to and use your images carefully. Social validation is so powerful. I love this campaign. I'm going to show you. This is about from a divorce lawyer. Look at the plate number. I can tell you how good I am, but I can show you how good I am. This is a very big difference. Again, social validation doesn't have to be just with a fancy car, but it can also be in terms of how you're humanizing your brand. People are really good at again, trusting words from your audience rather than you. If you think about Amazon, they really spend a lot of time on getting comments, so it makes it easy for you to decide what you want. And again, something I talk about emotion because the limbic system also has a massive impact in terms of our decision. And I love this campaign from Uber. Back in the days, this was a previous campaign. You can see this girl, she's relaxed. Always powerful to make your customer the hero of the story. Again, using it here, you can see when you put the call to action close to the photo, you can see the heat map, how much of attention it is driving as well. Be a storyteller, yes? When Airbnb launched, nobody thought it would work. But they understood it was not about accommodation, it was about connecting individuals. A lot of what I see quite often in the technology space, they don't know how to tell a story. People are attached to a story. And I think what's also more interesting is that you don't have to say everything. Allow your customers to understand and discover your brand. When you have an Apple product, probably most of us, like me, I still don't know all the functionalities of the brand that I have, and I discover as much as I can. But what is the most important USP, unique selling point of your brand, and focus on that instead of telling everything. And you know what's funny? Is that behind that, we are more drawn to negative emotion. So when we use negative emotion to communicate, it tends to work even better. I'm going to finish one last point, which is me obviously being a fashionista, even though I work in technology now. Does anybody recognize this man? Does anybody recognize this man? Oh, very good. I like that. This is obviously the one and only Karl Lagerfeld. And one thing that I always remember when I work with the brands that I work with is that you should always surprise. For the moment you stay, I'm good, nothing's going to change, this is when your company's going to die. Think about overbrand blockbuster for that Netflix will never take their space, and here we are. So think about how you can always go beyond to satisfy your customer when they don't expect you to. That's how you make them fall in love with you. I hope that you enjoy my talk, because I'm literally finishing on the dot, and I will see you very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Would you answer one more question?
Of course, of course.
One general question.
You're not mic'd up, isn't it?
There we go. I'm back. I'm back. There we go. My voice has come back. It's not from all the partying last night. Okay. Fabian asks, do you have any book recommendations?
Oh, so many. I say start with why, depending on what you want to read, but I would say psychology books are always the best. There's a lot of neuromarketing books. You can also get my books if you want to, and I do a lot of content. But I think the more you understand the psychology of our decision process, the more you understand how you can really use that effectively. But that's what I would say, yeah, definitely.
Perfect. And then somebody else asks, why the hell does it cost 35 million to change a brand of orange juice? And I would like to add to that, my cousin can do it for like $20.
It's not the cost of the design, it was the cost of how much sales that they lost because people were going for other brands. So imagine like you're selling 50, 70 million and then straight down you went down to 25 billion. That's how much money they lost because of poor design.
Right, so they had literally done nothing, their sales figures would have been great.
Literally down.
And then a last question, which is more of a general question. Somebody asked, when will these talks and presentations be available? They're actually available right now. If you go into the app, so I have it right here, you click on the video. It's actually already on YouTube, and you can share it with your friends. And it's even streamed out live. So Enjoy sharing this, because I think we all enjoy this. This is pretty good. Who here enjoyed this
They
talk?
were involved.
There we go. I'm making it hard for you to clap with your hands up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I thought that was really great.
Thank you, Justin.
Have a good one. All right, we're going to be talking about performance in a little bit. I'll see you back in about 10 minutes or so. Make sure to grab some food if you haven't already. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.